Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. So today I want to talk about terrible threes and kind of what I've been experiencing and how I'm getting through it actually rather peacefully as of late. So to start, I came across this book. It's called How to Talk to Kids So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. And sorry the lighting keeps changing. I just have natural light, so it's gonna be changing throughout the video. But this book is by Adele Faber and Elaine Mazlish or something. I'm not sure how you say that. I was on Amazon buying some other random stuff, and this book was kind of like in the suggestions list. And I was like, you know what? I need to get this because up until a week ago, or maybe over a week ago, John, he is my oldest and he's just over 3. He turned 3 in April. He has been going through the terrible threes, I would say, since he was about 2, almost like 2 3/4, almost 3. He started turning into, like, I hate to say this, especially that he's my child, but he's been turning into like this little devil child. He's a good boy, like overall, he's polite. You know, he loves his brothers and sisters, but he says no to everything I say. He has lots of tantrums. He just has been so different ever since he turned 3. He half the time refuses to go on the potty. He just doesn't, every time I tell him to clean up his toys, he says no. Like, he's just been getting really bad to the point where I'm like having screaming fits because I can't deal with him because he doesn't listen. So up until I read this book, my kind of like parenting technique to deal with the terrible threes was timeouts, taking away toys, no TV time, a lot of arguments and screaming. And clearly it hasn't been working because, like I said, he's been having such issues since he was like just over 2.5 up until now. And I did not know how to control him, and I have been losing it lately. So when I saw this book, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get it, just read it and just at least see if it can do anything for me, because I was like up to any suggestions, because even timeouts were no longer effective with him. I take away a toy, he doesn't care. I take away TV time, he doesn't care. I could put him in timeout because he did something wrong and he comes back off and does the exact same thing. So like, clearly it wasn't working and I don't know what else to do. So after reading this book, I finally finished it I finished it just over a week ago, I would say. And it is an amazing book and has talks about a lot of things that I never really thought of. One of the biggest things that stood out to me was that, like, how to talk to your child, how to listen so they'll talk, and then how to talk so they'll listen. My issue with John, now that he was in the terrible threes, has been that he doesn't listen to me. Sorry, I just have a knot in my hair. It was that he doesn't listen to me. So if I'm trying to tell him to do something, he either tunes me out or completely ignores me. And that was really frustrating me, and I didn't know how to talk to him in a way that he actually will listen. I did not know how to get across to him. So that's where I was hoping this book would help out, and it definitely did. Now, you don't have to read this book. I'm not telling you to go and read it. I mean, I think you would really like what it talks about, but I just want to tell you now that I've read this book, I want to tell you kind of how I've been approaching, you know, discipline and dealing with this terrible threes and how it's been going for us, because there's been a positive shift and a positive change in this house, and it is so good. And I've been really stressed because of, you know, his whole like terrible threes thing, and I have been a lot less stressed lately. And I know that terrible threes is a stage, and that like he's gonna kind of always be in it until he's out of the threes, maybe even out of the fours. But these techniques that I learned have definitely helped me. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about it really quick. Basically what she talks about is how to listen to your child. So instead of always telling your kid what to do and how they should feel and, you know, what they should like, you should listen and kind of see what they suggest. So for example, one of the examples in this book was something like, when your child comes home from school and he might be like, oh, I'm so angry, I just want to, or no, sorry, he would say, oh, I just want to punch whoever in the face, okay, for example. Instead of right away as a parent, like at least for me, my natural thing would be like, don't you ever say that, that is so bad, you should never punch anybody. That's right away I would just start scolding or start telling him how to feel. The book says, rather, instead of doing that, rather just sit down and say, wow, you seem angry. Kind of express what they're feeling, kind of let them know that you're listening and that you understand what they're feeling. So they say, wow, you must be really angry. And that will kind of get the kid to talk. So then the book says, like, then the kid might say, yeah, because this person did this to me. And then you say, how did that make you feel? So you kind of listening to them, and then they will kind of, at the end of this, will end up conveying how they're feeling, and they will realize their own emotions and their own feelings, rather than just being scolded at and then they shut down and close up and then they kind of just deal with it inside, because that's not healthy. And then that's when their like tantrums come out, and when they start hitting something, or because they're frustrated and they don't have any other way to get it out. I hope I didn't just confuse you. I hope that actually made sense what I'm saying. This book, I feel like it talked a little bit more about maybe like 5-year-old, 6-year-old. I don't really feel like it talked about like really little kids, but it was enough, you know, of an idea that I actually was able to apply it to my 3-year-old, and it really helped. So for example, this is what happened. So normally John makes a mess with his toys, and sorry, I'm out of focus. There. Normally John makes a mess with his toys, and I will say, okay, quickly clean it up please, and then I just walk away, and I come back and they're not cleaned, and I say, John, I asked you to clean up your toys, please do it. And then I walk away and they're not cleaned again. And I keep doing this until eventually I say, you're in trouble, you're in timeout. I put him in timeout, and I just start yelling at him, or I'm just frustrated and I go in my room because I'm stressed because he never listens to me. So clearly whatever I was doing was not working, and I knew it wasn't working. I just didn't know how to get it to work. So after I read this book, this is what I've been doing. For example, with him, I would say, if he made a mess of his toys, I would go up to him and say, hi sweetheart, are you done playing? And he would say yes or no. If he says no, then I just leave it and let him finish with his playing. If he says yes, and I see that he's moved on to something else, like reading a book, but still has Legos all over the floor, then I will sit down and go to like his level, to his eye level. And I will say, sweetheart, do you mind helping mommy clean up? It makes me so happy when you help out, and you know, the house will be clean or whatever. I give him like a little kind speech. And if he kind of just says, no, I don't want to do it, I say, well, why don't you want to do it? And if he says, like the other day I said, why don't you want to clean up? He says, because I want to read my book. And I said, how about this? How about you help mommy clean up the toys, and then we can read your book together. And he was like, okay. So then he cleaned up, and that was the first time he's ever done that. And now you don't have to say exactly what I did. You can do whatever, you know, whatever works for your kids. But that was the first time he actually did what I said, since he was entered the terrible 3 stage, that he actually did what I said the first time. So what I took from it was that he actually saw that I was caring and listening to him, because I asked him why he didn't want to clean up rather than just scolding him and telling him to clean up. And then he did it. And another thing that happened was, no, I don't have picky eaters. I never have. Like, they've always just eaten whatever I give them, thank God. But what I do sometimes have an issue with John is that he doesn't always want to eat when we're eating as a family, and I'm insistent on having family time. So before, I would put the food in front of him and I'd say eat, and he would say I don't want to eat, and I would say eat it now, we're all eating dinner, you're eating with us. And now after reading this book, I was kind of like, okay, maybe that's not fair, because now I'm teaching him that if he actually is truly not hungry and doesn't want to eat, I'm kind of teaching him, you know, don't listen to what you're feeling and what your body's telling you, and do what I say. So he, you know, might grow up not actually being in tune with himself. So now I said to him, all right, it's fine if you don't want to eat. I understand if you're not hungry, but I need you to sit at the table with us and just talk to mommy and daddy and tell us how your day was. And then he would just sit there and talk to us, and then I would see him slowly picking away at his food once he felt that he was hungry. So that's kind of what I've been implementing with him, and I'm going to say for the past week there has been a huge, like drastic change. Now, this takes a lot of practice. If you read this book, you will understand that, you know, kind of always trying to be in tune with your child's feelings is effort, a lot of effort, and it doesn't come naturally to me. I have to actually think about something. So when he went and hit Aaron the other day, and he normally doesn't hit, really, sometimes he'll play, but he doesn't actually hit out of like, you know, just out of hate. But he did hit Aaron, and Aaron was crying a lot. So I went to him and I said, instead of normally I would just yell at him and say, don't you dare hit your brother, you say sorry, and then I'd send him away, right, in timeout or something. So instead I went up to him and I said, John, you hurt your brother really bad. That was not nice. Why would you hit him? So instead of just yelling at him and not giving him a chance to explain, I let him explain. And so he said, Aaron stole my toy. And I said, wow, that must have made you very upset. So just by telling him that must have made you upset, he now knows that I acknowledge what he's feeling. I help him get to the bottom and the root cause of why he actually hit. And I said, that must have made you upset. And he said, yeah, it was my toy. And I said, do you think you have a similar toy that you can maybe give to Aaron so that he doesn't take yours? And he digs in his toy box, and he found, he was playing with some kind of like toy screwdriver, so he found like a wrench or something and gave it to Aaron. And then I said, that was so kind of you, John. Maybe next time if Aaron takes your toy, instead of hitting him, maybe you can give him a different toy, you know, to make him happy, to swap. And he says, okay. and he hasn't hit him since. So like, just for example, when he sees that I actually care and I'm actually listening rather than just scolding, he's able to kind of process it himself and say maybe what I did was a little bit, you know, crazy or whatever. So that's kind of how I've been disciplining now. I still obviously will put him in timeouts if he does something wrong. He still does have his little outbursts, but for the most part he's been really good, and aside from when he's exhausted, he's really happy and just really listens to me, and that was the first time. So this book is definitely awesome. It talks about like alternative punishment, so that's what I needed, because I was kind of using like the old school timeout, take away your toy, no TV, and it clearly was not working for my particular child. Now I do have some friends who those work really well for, like timeouts and things like that, but for John it just does not work, and he doesn't care about it. It doesn't affect him. So after getting this book, like I learned a lot about the like alternatives to punishment, how to resolve family conflicts peacefully, engage your child's willing cooperation, express your anger without being hurtful. That is big. Like for me, I'm gonna be honest, like this video is about being honest. I'm gonna be honest, when John does something that's really bad, like just really frustrates me, I will, in my anger, I will be hurtful. I will say, you're such a bad kid, or why do you do this? And I just get really upset at him, and telling him that he's such a bad kid, or that he never, you know, listens, or is never good. That really damages, you know, the child's mental health, and it impacts them. And it might, like, because they're so tiny, they take everything so much harder. And I never really thought about that. And I mean, I'm not always like that with him. I'm very gentle with him for the most part, but when he does do something really bad, I just kind of blow up. And I knew I don't like doing that, and I never liked yelling at him and stuff like that, but it just happened. So now after this book, I definitely learned how to express my anger in different ways, and how to be more gentle and try to understand and bring myself down to the level of a 3-year-old, because a lot of times, like, they're so tiny, they don't really think things like we do. Sometimes, like, you know, his brother stole his toy, so he hits, right? Rather than just saying like, maybe I'll just give him a different toy and tell him not to take mine or something, you know? Anyways, I hope I didn't confuse you with this video. It was just a random sit down video I wanted to get across, because I really did love this book. I just, like I said, I found it on Amazon. I bought it and it was pretty cheap. It was like 13 bucks or something, maybe less. And I just wanted to give it a go because I was desperate to try anything. And so far it has been working. I will update you maybe next month and let you know if things are still going, you know, good, or if it was just a fluke that this week has, you know, been good. But he definitely had a lot, like the same amount of issues this week that he did, you know, the last, you know, throughout his whole like three-year-old stage or whatever. But the difference I found this week is that he responds to me better after, you know, using the techniques in this book. I don't want to give away all the techniques in this book because I don't feel like that's fair. I feel like you guys should read the book if you're interested, just because, you know, the author wrote it, and I don't want to just tell you exactly what to do, so then you might not read the book. And I don't think that's fair. But I think if you're having an issue with your 3-year-old or even 2-year-old or 6-year-old or 7-year-old, whoever, I would give this a go. I honestly loved it, and I'm getting my husband to read it now. So we're kind of on the same page in terms of like parenting and disciplining. It has taught me a lot. I'm gonna be honest when I say that. I was not a very understanding parent for the most part. I was pretty good, I'm gonna say. Like, I'm not an awful parent, I don't think I am, but I definitely have a lot of, just especially with 3 kids now, when something goes wrong, I just kind of am exhausted and I just kind of like lose it, rather than just trying to understand where it's all coming from. So I did learn a lot from this book, and I'm excited to, you know, implement it more and with all my kids and just see how it turns out. But like I said, it's called How to Talk to Kids So Kids Will Listen, and Listen So Kids Will Talk, and it's a great book. So check it out. It was pretty inexpensive. I mean, maybe you can even find it at like a, you know, thrift store or a used bookstore or something. If you have one near you, I'm sure you might find one, and just read it. It's a really easy read, a lot of pictures and things like that, so it doesn't take that long. Yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're having any issues with your terrible 3s, or you have any techniques that have really worked for you, please comment below and let me know, because I'm still taking suggestions. I still need all the help I can get. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I said, if you're new, subscribe down below so you can see lots more videos, and I will see you in my next one.